You are love. And that is the truth. It's the truth for you. It's the truth for me. It's the truth for all of us. And we are what we're searching for, whether we realize it or not. We already have it. We just haven't realized it yet. We are the joy of life unfolding from that child's twinkling eye. We are the Christ expression of God, of Spirit, whatever name you want to call it. And so when we live from that place of joy, it radiates us, and it's alive. And that energy is flowing, not only for us, but for all of our brothers and sisters everywhere. Because we are a world, we live in a world that was created for all. It wasn't created for just me. It wasn't created for just you. It wasn't created just for Christians, for Muslims, for any one culture. It was created for all humanity. And we forget that in our day-to-day struggles in the outer world, or at least sometimes I forget it. I'll speak for myself here. And then I'll remember what I was taught as a young child, that consciousness is me, the birth of Jesus, because that's what we're all celebrating. And as you know, and as you see, I don't have the Advent candles up this year. I chose to go back to Unity's old thinking, which I like sometimes, and to really concentrate on that Christ consciousness being awakening in us, allowing us to be in that higher power of space when we are one and feel that radiant energy. Because I think for me, that's what I want to see in the world right now, is radiant joy. Because there has been so much sorrow, so much hurt, so much angst in our lives with the pandemic, with the social injustice, with the death of so many young people on our streets. Or if you're driving down the street, with the scenery of the folks who are living on the street. There's a lot of despair in that outer world of chaos. And really what I want to focus on in December is that Christ consciousness, that higher power giving us the strength beautiful world of spirit. And to show others how to ignite that spark within their own inner selves, no matter the outer circumstances, so that we can all manifest and create an abundance. Just as the child's twinkling eyes. You know, on Saturday, I guess that was yesterday, maybe Friday, it was nice outside, and my husband and I were sitting on the porch, and our 2-year-old grandson was outside playing, because when he comes to Nana's house, the first thing he does is go outside. And he learned very early how to unlock the doors, even with a key. He'll take the key off the key rack, stick it in the door, and unlock it and go in. He's been doing that since he was about 1.5 years. He loves to be outside, to the point where he thinks it's okay if it's him and Daisy May who are outside. Now, he's 2, and Daisy May weighs 20 pounds. But as long as she's with him, then he's okay, because he's not alone. And that's his 2-year-old mind. Well, we were sitting out on the porch, and around our deck, we have all these pebbles. And he goes over and gets a handful, and he comes up and he puts them on the glass table. And my husband asks, well, which one's the smallest one? And so he glazes over at all these little rocks. And he picks one up and he says, this is the smallest one. And my husband says, yeah, I think you're right. And so then he astonished both of us, because he started going and counting 1 and moving a rock, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. And then he got a little confused and went 15, 16, 18. But for a 2-year-old, just to start counting objects up to 10 was amazing to me. And then a little while later, because it was getting chilly, we went inside, and he wanted to watch what I later found out was Blimpie, whatever that is. But I thought he said Santa, so I turned on some YouTube, the Christmas Santa shows. No clue how or why. I haven't typically turned on any Christmas music yet. Don't really think anybody else has. But he knows all the words. So that just shows me that he still is in that place of knowledge that he came in with. He has yet to forget that he knows nothing and that he can't do it. Wouldn't it be a different world if we all remembered what we knew before we realized that we didn't know anything? If we all tapped into that knowledge and we automatically knew the Christmas carols, if we automatically understood different cultures, if we automatically understood all the ancient text and artifacts and cultures that came before the written word. Many of you know that I'm a real science buff, and archaeology is like one of my favorite subjects, and I spend a lot of time watching the Smithsonian architectural digs. And I find it so fascinating that so much of what is written in our Bible came thousands of years before it was written from other cultures. How they thought of the underworld and the darkness, and how we view the darkness in our own souls. It's exactly the same. We haven't ever really figured out that all the answers are within us. And we've been seeking and searching for thousands and thousands of years. Life is a mystery. But it's a joyful mystery when we allow it to be the good. When we allow that goodness to penetrate through what we consider to be the bad things. You know, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I catch myself worrying, I don't worry about the good stuff. Do you guys? No. We're focusing on all the crazy that's going on in our heads instead of focusing on the good. And so that is what really today is about, is focusing on that good that we are, and we always have been, and always will be. And this doesn't come from our mental thinking, nor does it come from our physical body. It comes from spirit, what some call the Holy Spirit. That's when that joy of life and that energetic flow is racing through your being, radiating outward that joy. Shifting us into that higher state of consciousness when we allow ourselves to get out of the way, when we allow our egos to rest. You know, the contact and good works comes through prayer and meditation. And that doesn't mean that you have to be sitting quietly, even though the more that you practice, the higher your consciousness will rise. But you can be in that state of being, that connection with spirit, with the breath. When we just take a moment and focus on connection. When we listen and are guided by that infinite life. When we live eternally in the presence of Spirit, we receive an understanding or right thinking. But for me, it's really an understanding of a greater essence than what I am. It's when I realize that I am. I am the energy that runs through my being. I am the energy that flows all around me. You know, have you ever been on a hike in the woods and you see the glimmering around the trees, or you see the water molecules above the water itself? So you see in between the spaces. That energy is alive. It is life. And it is all around us. That energy is what allows us to manifest. It allows us to heal. It allows us to heal our minds, our physical body with spirit. It is truly a miracle. And it's a mystery. And I'm sure we'll all continue on this path. Seeking whatever it is we're seeking, whatever we think that we're missing. But remember, if nothing else, remember the happiness, the joy, and the strength that the giving and receiving allows us to activate in our lives. So it's not about the physical things. That's not what the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Christ consciousness is really about. It's really about the power and the strength, of the energy of life, the breath of life. We already have it. And when we allow ourselves to be, we feel it. It empowers us to take bold steps into a new journey. Whatever that journey might be for you, whatever it might look like. Because it's different for all of us, but the things that is the same is the energy flow. That's the same for each and every being on this planet. There is no difference there. There's only the difference that we've separated in our mind. I'm going to leave you with a prayer by James Dillard Freeman. It's called A Jubilant Journey. And for those of you that don't know who James Dillard Freeman is, he was a Unity minister. He was the president of Unity School of Christianity for many years after the film wars. And he's a poet. He wrote the poem, I Am, which is on the moon. It was taken there by the Apollo. This one is called A Jubilant Journey. And that's why I chose it for today. Where are you going? What is your destination? Life is for journeying, not to stand and stay. Life is a high road. Life is for elevation. Walk through the wide doors, heart, be on your way. Life is unfoldment. Life is a ferment of thought and act and feeling. Life is for growth. Life is forever. Life is for the moment. Life is for living. Heart, be not loath. For the jubilant journey, give yourself to living. Life is for discovery. Life is always new. Not for having and holding, but for giving. Give yourself to life, and life will give itself to you. So for me, that's what the Christ consciousness is really all about. Life, the joy and radiance of the giving of life to myself and to others. So as you go through this week, go through it jubilantly. Don't stand and be. Take a journey. Find a new place, a new way to be. Wherever that is. Because wherever you are, God is. And so it is.